Okay, so before we get started, if you would join me in a word of prayer, we'll ask the Lord to bless our meal today. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, the day that we can get together and celebrate the fun and successes that the girls had today. We also thank you for the way that you have blessed them with the many physical abilities and even more important than that, how they're doing in school. We would ask that you watch over us today. We would hope that we would have many more memories generated tonight. We'd also ask that you bless this food to our physical good in a way that would be glorifying to you. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. We are going to go ahead and get started with your words. Girls, before you leave though, make sure you get your pictures. You just received those, so we have the packet for the JV girls, and we also have the packet for the varsity girls. So please come see us to get that at the end of the evening. So next, we'll introduce you our JV coach. I think most of you know him. Some of you may not. Let me introduce this for you, Coach James. Second year for us. All right. But he's coached many, many years. I actually was his coach when he was about in the 7th grade. But he also played all the way through high school, a little bit of club in college. And he's doing a wonderful job for us. So this is the JV coach, Gideon Masseyville.
All right, good evening. I'm the JV coach. I had the pleasure of coaching the JV girls team. So girls, if you want to come on up and line up on this side, we'll go over here.
Nobody knows what it looks like.
All right, so Coach Stevens and I, we've been talking prior to tryouts, just trying to figure out who was playing, who was not. We were kind of, if being honest, kind of worried about numbers, if we have a JV team or not. And tryouts came and went, and we had, I want to say, like 12 girls initially on the JV team. And that's a low number. We only have one sub. I think even the first game somebody was injured, so we didn't have any subs. So that was kind of rough. So the first practice after that, I just looked at the girls and said, hey, anybody that wants to play soccer, tell them come on out and play soccer. So the next day, like 5 or 6 new girls just walked up and said, I want to play soccer. I asked them if they'd ever played soccer before. They said, what's a soccer ball? They had no idea what was going on, but they all had good attitudes and they all wanted to be on the team, and that's all that I needed. And so I want to say, let me just take a quick check here. 2 of them played on the soccer team last year. Michaela has played soccer before, and Jordan, I think, had played soccer before, like past age 6. So I don't really count like prior to age 6 as real soccer experience. That's more of like for parents just to take cute pictures and things like that. So we had a lot of work to do with a vast majority of our team never even playing soccer. And so our first game, I'm going to be honest, I was just shocked as everybody else when we won our first game. I'm like, holy cow, we won a game. So the girls were super pumped about it after that. And then our second game was Carlson, and we got sent back down to earth real fast when they beat us. But one of the defining factors of the girls is they were never upset too much after losses. Like, yeah, it stung a little bit, but they didn't come to practice the next day wanting to quit and turning in their jerseys and saying this team sucks, we're not playing anymore. Like they came back and they want to know what they could do to be better, and that's how it all works. So, why are you been? Mia? Come on. Mia's on our soccer team too. So the JV awards work like this. So when you play your first sport at Wyandotte, whether it's JV or varsity, you'll get your graduating year numbers. So some of them have numbers because this is the first sport they played at Wyandotte. If you don't have a number, it's because you played some sort of sport before and you should have got it then. And then they're going to get a certificate from me, just their JV soccer award. And when I call their name, I'll say something about them, most likely something nice. And we'll just give them. We're going to hold the applause until the end, and then we'll get on to our varsity awards. So the first certificate I have in front of me is for Isabel Aguilar. It's all right. Okay. Quick little story about Isabel. She's always smiling. She's always happy until someone kicks her in the shin, and then she grabs them by the back and throws them to the ground. So that's how she earned the nickname Rocky. Is that she's a sweet girl in practice, always bouncing and bubbly, but if you turn on her, it's all over. Okay, you will end up on the ground. So Isabel, you were a joy to have on the team. You were always fun at practice. You were always hyped during the game. It was always the greatest part of the game when I would call her out for a sub and I would tell her good job, and her response was always, "Really? Yeah!" And she'd run over to the bench thinking that was, all I had to tell her was good job, and that was good enough for her. So Isabel, thank you for playing soccer, and we hope to see you next year. Next we have Maya. I would try to say her last name, but it would just be embarrassing, so I'm not going to do that. Maya, Maya came to a lot of the winter workouts at school. She put in the time. She was there. She came to our winter workout. She came to all the tryouts. She always had a good attitude. She never complained about anything, and she worked her way into being a solid starter for us almost every game towards the end of the year. So from going from someone who had never really played soccer prior to this to now, she's made vast improvements, and we just can't wait to see how much more she grows.
Thank you.
Next we have Michaela Arminiak. Michaela was one of the few girls that had soccer experience prior to playing with us this year. She's played club soccer for a while, and she was our goalie. And even though we lost more games than we won, Michaela's a big reason why we didn't lose more games than we did, and why we didn't lose a lot more than we should have. So Michaela is one of the reasons why those 2-0 games weren't like 7-0 games. She made a lot of really good saves. It kind of bummed her that towards the end of the year, the last 2 or 3 games she was hurt. She got hit in the knee and was all bruised up and couldn't really do anything. So I told her to suck it up and get in there. She said, "My dad won't let me." And but she was awesome to have on the team. It was really cool to have a player with some prior experience and bring that leadership and knowledge to the team. So Michaela, thank you for playing. We'll see you next year. Next is Ani. There's Ani. Ani was she was one of those girls that came after that first game when I said go find some friends to come and play soccer. Ani was there that next day. She beat me to practice and said, "I want to play soccer." I said, "Great." I asked her if she had played before, and she said, "Absolutely not." So I didn't know what to expect, but she listened at practice, and she got a lot better. She was also one of those players that wasn't scared to be physical. She got in there, and she didn't care if the girls were bigger than her, or stronger than her, or faster than her. She would get in there. So Ani, it was great to have you on the team, and we'll see you next year. Next we have Mel. Meliana.
What? Oh, thanks.
This is Mel, and my story about Mel is that the first practice I was trying to be nice and teach the game because no one really knew how to play, and Mel looks at me and she says, "You can yell at me, I was like, well, you didn't do anything wrong. She goes, well, it's okay, you can yell at me. I'm like, well, did you want me to yell at you? She goes, well, that's how I learned. You have to yell at me. What she didn't tell me is that when I yelled at her, she was going to yell back. So we didn't get that far. I was surprised when I yelled the first time and she came back and she yelled something back at me. I was like, that's not how this works. I yell, you listen, and you just do what I tell you to do. But she always had something to say after. But it was always fun, and she always out there. She was a tough defender. When she would get hurt, she always want to be back as soon as possible. And she was a nice addition to our team this year. Mel, it was great playing. See you next year. Next we have Alexis. Alexis is also known as Polly because she's Rocky's best friend. So that's how she got the nickname of Polly. She also was one of those girls that Alexis and Isabel and Ani were a few of the girls that came that next day to practice and just said, hey, I want to be on the soccer team. They said I can just walk on. I said, yep, you can. I again asked them if they played. They said no. So again, this was one of those where I don't know what I'm getting, but they're here and they want to be here, and that's good enough for me. And from teaching them to kick the ball to the rules of the game and things like that, our team made vast improvements from where we started to where we ended. So Alexis, it was great to have you on the team. Sorry I got kicked in the head at our last game, and we ended up spending some quality time in the trainer's room, making sure you didn't fall asleep. So hopefully that doesn't happen next year, because we'll see you next year. Next we have Jazz. Jazz is another one of those girls that's just always smiling at practice. She always, sometimes she had a little something to say to me, but it's all right. That's just kind of how the team works. She was a joy to have on the team. She gave her best when she was out there. Some games she looked at me and just said, Coach, I'm not going in today. I'm like, okay, all right, at least you're being honest, you know. So she would give her best, and she wanted to be better, and I can see that for all the girls. They all wanted to be better. And as a coach, you can't ask for more than that. So Jazz, it was great having the team. We'll see you next year. Next we have Amanda. Amanda also came to the workouts in the winter until she had a little surgery done on her foot, and that kept out of the first day of tryouts. But we saw her workouts that was good enough for us to put her on the team, and we're happy we did, because she got a lot tougher and she got a lot better throughout the season. Amanda's one of those girls, like the short soccer players, whether you're a guy or a girl, you always get away with more just because you're short. And so Amanda probably deserved like 3 yellow cards and 2 red cards by the end of the year, and she didn't get any of them because she's short. And she would just go up and grab girls and throw them to the ground and then look around like, I don't know, how did you end up on the ground? Yeah, and she did that in practice too. More than once, I would be like participating in practice with the girls, and she'd kick me in the ankle and be like, Coach, your foot was there, sorry. So that was Amanda, and she was, but she also ended up being a starter for us. She gave her best. She was out there, she hustled, she would get frustrated when our team was losing, and that, in my book, is a good quality to have, you know. Not liking losing is a good thing, so that makes you better and that makes your team better. So Amanda, we'll see you next year. Next we have Aubrey. Aubrey was a girl that came to all the winter workouts, and Coach Stevens and I would sit there and we'd see the improvement every week. We'd see her conditioning get better, and it was already good. She runs cross country in the fall, and this girl could run the whole game. I would never have to take her out. But she just got better as the year went on. It was awesome to see from January and the workout started to March when we had tryouts to the end of the year, to see her progress as an outside midfielder and understanding the game and moving up and down the field with the ball. So Coach Stevens and I have some pretty high hopes for her coming up in the next few years. And Aubrey, it was great having the team, and we'll see you next year. Next we have Nyana. Nye is also one of those short girls that can do pretty much whatever she wants and not get called for anything. It helps that she plays defense too. So there's almost nothing ever getting called on her unless it's like really, really bad. But she was a really tough defender for us. I started at forward, and then it actually ended up that one of our players got injured and we needed a defender, so I put Nye back there, and that was the best decision I made all season because she was a solid center back for us. She held down the defense. She's fast, she's physical, and again, she just got better as the year went on. And I can't say enough that all these girls just wanted to be better, and it's them wanting to be better and wanting to put in the time after practice and on the weekends and things like that that made our team better than probably what we should have been with the skill level we had at the start of the year. And Nye was a big supporter in that, and she was one of the girls that got girls out to play after practice and spend the weekends and try harder. So Nye, it was great. It was great having the team, and we'll see you next year. Next we have Mackenzie. Mackenzie is one of our returning players from last year. And she played on the JV team with me last year, and she was actually my goalie last year. But this year I wanted to get her out of the net because she's also a very good field player, and she's a lefty, which is even better. And with Michaela coming up, it was just perfect timing how that worked. And we kind of moved her all over the place from defense to midfield to forward. And towards the end of the season, she kind of found a spot at our center mid spot, and she did a really good job kind of controlling the field, finding her teammates for passes and setting the tone. She was a captain. She set a good leadership example. She liked to joke around practice a little bit. That's all right. Every team needs a player like that, and we can't say enough. Coach Stevens and I were literally just talking about Mackenzie for next year and the high hopes we have for her as well. So Mackenzie, good job this season. See you next year. Next we have Caitlin.
Yeah, Caitlin.
Caitlin was another one of those girls that showed up after the first game and wanted to play soccer. Again, had no experience, but that did not slow her down. It didn't take much time for her to work herself into the starting lineup. She was one of our defenders as well, and she was tough and physical back there. When she got beat, she turned around and she hustled back to help defend again. And again, the progress from the start of the season to now was awesome, and we just hope that they continue to play soccer and that they continue to grow. And Caitlin, you definitely fall in that category. So good job this year, and we'll see you next year. Next we have Serenity. This was Serenity's first year playing soccer for Wyandotte. I don't know, you didn't play soccer for practice, did you? When she was little, so no, she did not really play soccer prior to this, but she also was one of the girls that we saw at all winter workouts. Whenever the gym was open, Serenity was there. And that was one of the things that Coach Stevens and I admired about those girls that showed up to all the workouts, that they were showing us that they wanted to play. They were willing to put in the time to get better, and she showed that throughout the year as well. She not only put in the time to get better, we saw it on the field, and she ended up being a starter for us on defense as well. And she ended up being a pretty good leader for the team on the field. You know, she knew what things were supposed to happen and when they were supposed to happen, and she did a good job, you know, commanding the field and telling the girls about that, and just making her mark on the game. So Serenity, it was great to have you. We'll see you next year. Next we have Jordan. I want to say Jordan started at Wyandotte like a week before tryouts, something like that. Oh, the day of tryouts, she started at Wyandotte. So she was as big of a surprise to us as there come, because she showed up to school and she heard about tryouts and she wanted to play. So she got her stuff there, and she was at tryouts. Both on the first day, Coach Stevens and I had no idea who she was, because she showed up that day. So we had no idea who she was, but we were happy that she was there. She had prior soccer experience playing at her old school, and that was awesome. She was one of those girls that's just a natural leader. She takes over in the huddles and the tryouts and the practices, and she just told the girls what was on her mind. Sometimes it wasn't always the greatest thing, but she told them, and I think the girls respect her for that. Sometimes, you know, they butt heads a little bit. That's all right. No no team is perfect. Jordan, just keep getting better. Keep doing the same thing you've been doing, and you'll be great. So it's good to have a team, and we'll see you next year. Next we have Mia Torres. So Mia was the one that was sitting back there, and there was a little confusion because she ended the year playing on varsity because that's how much progress she had made from the start of the year to the end of the year. Coach Stevens the whole year and I were talking about, when is not if Mia is going to get pulled up, is when Mia is going to get pulled up, and it just happened to be the last 2 weeks or so of the season. And whenever we have a player like that, it hurts me as a JV player because it's like, oh, I have a varsity caliber player on my team that he's going to take, and it's eventually going to hurt my team. But it's always a good thing to see our girls getting better and moving up. And ultimately, that's what we want as a team, is to be developing players and sending them to varsity. So Mia started the year playing as center mid for us, and she moved up to varsity and played on the field. I'm not quite sure where she's playing forward for them, but she's fast. She's fast and she's physical, and she gets up there with the ball and she's not scared to play. And she was one of those girls I could leave in the whole game. And when I took her out, 30 seconds later, she'd be like, "Coach, I'm good. I'm ready to go back in." And so I'd have to sit down. I need to get I need to get some other girls in, but you'll go back in soon. But she was a joy to have on the team. She liked to joke around. She liked to have fun. But when it's practice time and when it was game time, she was all business, and it showed on the field. So Mia, it was great. It was great to have you, and we'll see you next year. And the last one I have is Adriana. Adriana was also a returning player for me from last year. This is her third year playing soccer in high school. She played her first year at Southgate and her last 2 years here at Wyandotte. And she's a leader. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what she is. She was a captain. She always had a good attitude at practice, and from the start of tryouts to the end of the season to winter workout, she just wanted to be better. She was one of those girls that was a frequent flyer at the workouts. If the gym was open, she was there. At tryouts, she was giving her best. During practice, she was giving her best, and that's all. And that's all you can ask. She asks about travel teams and things like that, and she wants to be playing to get better, and that work ethic shows on the field with the progress that she has made this year. So Adriana, we will see you next year. She also got pulled up to varsity for a game or two and helped the varsity team. So again, speaks to the progress of what she's done over the last few years. And this is your Wyandotte JV girls soccer team.
I think you'll probably agree that it's quite obvious that first I wanted to hire Gideon to be one of the coaches for the lineup. But I also wanted him because he's a comedian. And he does an amazing job up there. He keeps the girls happy, he makes it fun, and just does a wonderful job. Okay, before I bring up the girls, I want to talk about a couple of the highlights that we had this year. Well, before that, I want to thank the parents. This group of parents, and I don't know how much JV helped, but I know my varsity parents were absolutely amazing this year. It's so fun when you're a coach and you don't have to worry about anything but coaching. They made sure the girls were at the practices, those that did drive. When we had our tournaments, they supplied with food. We had team meals every week. What else did they do? They did the concession stand for us all the time, did the videos for every game, and all those things helped so much. So I want to thank, first off, all the varsity parents for a job well done this year. Now back to the highlights. This is the second consecutive year that we've had a winning season. You know, this is just Team 5. right? 5 years ago, I don't know, did you win? I wasn't coaching varsity then. Maybe 1 or 2 games. They progressed a little bit every year. Last year we were 6th in the league. Our record was 1 game above 500, but that gave us our first ever 500 season. This year, they improved on that. This year, for the season, the team had 11 wins, 7 losses, and 2 ties. If you add in the 3 scrimmages in the district game, we ended up 13-9-2, which is absolutely phenomenal. We outscored our opponents for the 2nd consecutive year. For the season, we scored 44 goals and we conceded 33. If you remember last year, we did score as many goals. Last year, we conceded the same amount, 33. Last year, we were in the bottom 5. So when we played the second round, we were playing the teams that weren't very good. As a matter of fact, we ended up winning all those games. So this year, our competition was much tougher because we ended up in the top 5. So we played Woodhaven, Trenton, Carlson, all those teams twice. We still only conceded the same amount as last year, scoring more goals. If you include districts and the scrimmages, we outscored our opponents 52-39. So nice job, ladies. Last year we had 10 shutouts. Again, we played a tougher schedule this year. This year we also had 10 shutouts. So I can't say enough about them as a team. They just did a wonderful, wonderful job. So thank you, girls and parents. Go ahead, varsity girls, come on up here. I'm not going to go by grade this year. I'm going to go by how many letters you have. So the first ones that I will introduce are the ones with the first letter of varsity, in our varsity program. So first is number 19, junior Kaylee Fuller. Watching Kaylee on JV last year and during our winter sessions this year, we knew a couple things about her that made her a good fit on the varsity team. Kaylee is coachable and has a decent touch. We also knew that she's a physical player, but we weren't sure exactly where the best position for her was. What we also didn't know was how physical she would actually be. Kaylee never backed away from any opposing player or shied away from any hard-driven ball. When we needed an additional physical presence on the field, it was an easy decision for us to make, whether it was up top, at outside mid, or outside back. As coaches, we actually started calling Kaylee our beast, because not only was she fearless, but she put fear in the other opponents. Job well done, number 19, junior Kaylee Fuller. Number 7, junior Kate Simpson. This is also Kate's first year on the varsity team, but it's her 3rd year in our program. Kaylee's it's her 2nd year. Kate predominantly subbed in and out with Kylie, having a positive effect in the games at the right midfield position. But she also played just as well at left midfielder and center midfielder. I think Kate was even more effective when she played as an attacking midfield position. And I don't know if you know, the way that we do that, we typically have 2 strikers or 2 forwards. And when we have one as playing a position like an attacking mid, we just hold her back a little bit. We usually do that against teams that are good goal-scoring teams, because that gives us another first person to try to prevent and connect passes. So as coaches, we admire the fact that during games, Kate was relentless when it came to her work ethic. I know there were times when she was exhausted from the overlapping runs, from hustling back to help defensively and pushing up again without a break because our numbers were so low. That relentless attitude attributed to Kate's first 2 goals on varsity, as she scored a goal early this season against Allen Park, and as she scored another goal in our 3-0 win at Taylor. Thank you for being relentless. Number 7, Kate Simpson. Number 11, sophomore Mia Morford. This is Mia's second year on the varsity team and also second year as a starter. At the beginning of the season, we had every intention to play Mia up top as a striker. I think I told her that. I think I probably told her family that too, because Mia is such a natural goal scorer. But just like last year, her knowledge of the game, her ability to pass the ball with precision, and her movement off the ball made it obvious that our possession game would benefit greatly with Mia as a center midfielder. Executing those passes with precision added in our attack by setting up teammates for goal-scoring opportunities. Even with her unselfish play, and I said this last year, she's always been an unselfish player. Mia ended up being one of our top goal scorers, with 9 for the season, scoring 4 in the game against Redford Union. Mia also took charge in the center this year as she regularly called or demanded for the ball, which is something that we really like. And she directed teammates to go to space and pressure the ball. Not only was Mia effective as a center mid, but she also helped greatly when as a holding mid, we needed to go into a defensive mode. Nice job, number 11, sophomore. Number 13, sophomore captain, Olivia Harder. This is also Liv's second year as a varsity player and second year as a starter. Liv is a natural leader, and she's been taking charge of our defensive line for 2 years already. This is just one of the reasons that, as only a sophomore, Liv was selected to be one of our captains. Her leadership on the field and running our defensive line were instrumental in our success as a team this year. Reading the opponent's attack well, Liv constantly stepped to the ball to intercept opposing passes. She is an extremely skilled player that is tough both physically and mentally. Being tough physically and mentally, Liv played many games when she wasn't 100% due to injuries, but still never complained. I remember late in the season, Liv stated that as a defender, she has never scored a goal. The very next game, we decided to push her up, and within 1 minute, she scored the first goal of her high school career, and as a defender. She also pushed up late in the first game against Southgate, scoring her second goal of the season to bring us within 1 in our 2-1 loss against them. Congratulations, number 13, sophomore captain. Number 15, sophomore Elena Jacob. In only her second year in high school, this is AJ's second year as a varsity player. She also second year as a starter. AJ started every game as our left outside midfielder, but with all the team injuries, we also had to use her at times as a center midfielder. And speaking of injuries, AJ is considered by the coaches as a true warrior and a selfless teammate. One reason is because she played the majority of the season with severe shin splints. Knowing that we had a small roster and limited subs, being the great teammate that she is, not one time did she ever complain or ask to come out of the game. As coaches, in some games at practices, we had to ask AJ to take a break or to sit out just to give her legs a little bit of rest and maybe start to heal. Even with her injuries, AJ was able to connect passes effectively, make overlapping runs, and score 5 goals on a season. She scored goals against Gabriel Richard, Edsel Ford, Melvindale, Monroe, and late in the game, she scored the game winner in a 1-0 win over John Glenn. Well done, number 15, sophomore. Number 5, junior Kylie Gabert. This is also Kylie's second year on varsity. Since Kylie's freshman year, she's played either center mid or outside mid. This year, Kylie was our regular starter as the right outside midfielder. Kylie did a nice job connecting passes and making runs after those passes and crossing the ball from the right side. She also has good speed and used it well when attacking and when getting back to help defensively. This year, she also became a goal scorer, scoring goals in 2 different games Kylie scored her first goal against Redford Union and also scored in our game at Taylor. Kylie also was one of our many players that battled back after suffering from injuries. Even when she wasn't close to being healthy, Kylie would go back into the game because she knew her teammates needed her. Well done, number 5, Kylie Gager. Number 25, junior, Carolyn Amison. Or, according to some announcers, Cara Amison.
No.
I know. This is Kara's 3rd year as a varsity athlete. She's another player with good vision that connects passes with either foot equally well. Typically, Kara played the center mid and outside mid positions. This year, we found that as a forward, playing similar to an attacking center mid, especially against the better attacking teams, that Kara could spoil the opponent's passing opportunities in the middle of the field. With that, Kara became our pest and was successful being that type of a player no matter what position she played. I actually did call her a pest many times, and that only as a compliment. One quality that as coaches we really appreciate about Kara is when she would come off the field, she would ask questions like, how did I do? And was I positioned properly? It is these types of questions and enthusiasm that show she is always wanting to learn to become a better player and to help out her team. Congratulations on another wonderful year. Number 25, Kara Amison. Number 12, junior Eliana Sawicki. This is Ellie's 3rd year on the varsity team. Ellie started every game as our left outside midfielder because of her strong physical play and good recovery speed. On occasion, we pushed Ellie up top, or we pushed her up top for her physical presence and scoring potential. Although she didn't score any goals this year, she helped stop other teams from scoring by bumping opponents off the ball, shutting down crossing opportunities, and stopping long shots from the field. Having one of our best throw-ins, Ellie took all the throw-ins from the left side of the field. Didn't matter how far she would go up for the throw-ins because we knew she had the speed and endurance to hustle back to her defensive position. Another job well done. Number 12, Eliana Sawicki. Number 4, junior Bella Colstrand. This is Bella's 3rd year as a varsity player. In each of those years, she's played up top as a striker. Bella has always had good speed and a strong right foot. But this year, she showed us great speed, a strong right foot, and an equally strong left foot. Being able to score goals with either foot made Bella a huge threat, as she scored 6 goals on the season, doubling her scoring productivity from just a year ago. Bella scored in our wins against Summit, Crestwood, Allen Park, and Southgate. I can only imagine how many additional goals Bella may have scored if she wasn't sidelined for 5 games with a knee injury. The way Bella fought for the ball as a striker also showed us that her physical play could benefit the team in other positions as well. As you saw her effectively play an outside midfield position in districts, denying the opponents outside attacking opportunities. Thank you, Bella. Number 4. Number 20, junior Alina Kozinski. This is Alina's 2nd year as a varsity athlete. I'm sure you all remember that Alina was one of our forwards last year and has been a good goal scorer since her freshman year on JV. One of the reasons she was a threat was because she has amazing speed. Because of her speed and the fact that last year we graduated some quality defenders, during the winter sessions this past year, I asked Alina what she thought about being a defender. She responded with, I can give it a try. Not only did she give it a try, but she fell into an outstanding center back, and she did that rather quickly. In her new position, Alina quickly learned how to read the opponent's attack Also intercept passes and clear the ball equally well off the ground and out of the air with both feet. As a defender, Alina still scored goals for us. She got 4 goals. She scored them against Melvindale, Monroe, and 2 against Redford Union. Thank you for giving it a try at defense. Number 20, Alina Kozinski. Number 3, senior Becca Amison. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but for those that are on a varsity sport for 4 years, the award that they get is, I just think it's awesome. It's silver and it's got some gold in it. It's very nice. So this is Becca's 4th year as a varsity soccer player. Prior to this year, Becca was primarily a forward because her speed made her such a scoring threat. Last year, in the extreme heat of our district game at Dearborn, we switched Becca from striker to outside defender. In that game, she proved that she could be a quality defender. As that quality defender, this season, Becca started every game as our right outside back. Her growth in that position was second to none as she developed strong kicks with both feet. Becca's recovery speed helped defensively because it was near impossible for the opponent to beat her wide. Her vision and timing stepping to the ball also contributed to the strength of our back line. Offensively, as she made numerous blind-sided runs and advanced to the ball, helping our offensive attack. With all that said, her best attribute might be the respect that she gives to her fellow teammates and to the coaching staff. Congratulations on 4 great years. Number 3, senior. Number 00, senior captain, Lillian Corker. This is Lily's 3rd year on varsity and her 2nd year as our keeper. One of the reasons that Lily was chosen to be a captain was we knew with her sense of humor, she would keep things light and fun. We also knew that she would set a good example as a positive leader with a good work ethic. As a keeper, to be successful, you need to have good hands, quick feet, good vision, good communication skills. You also need to be fearless, tough, and just a little bit crazy. Lily has all those attributes, helping the team to have our best season ever. Lily was our only goalie this year, well, that is until 17 minutes into the second Carlson game, when she took a shot from point-blank range and walked it right here, the right side of her face and temple. Not only is it amazing that she stayed on her feet, but she actually responded to the play and followed the ball, which went off to her right, making sure they didn't get another scoring opportunity. The toughness in Lily helped her rebound quickly and play great in our district game versus Woodhaven. Thank you for being tough and maybe more than just a little bit crazy. Number 00, senior captain, Lillian Corby. Number 18, senior captain, Lizzie Gilbert. This also is Lizzie's 4th year as a varsity player and starter. She was selected also to be one of our captains because we knew she would handle responsibilities and set good examples. This year we knew we could play Lizzie in many positions, but we also knew that the team would benefit greatly with her as a center midfielder. With her strength on the ball, it was virtually impossible to take the ball away from her. With Lizzie's vision and touch, she consistently connected quality passes. With her strength of her shot, she could score it easily from outside the 18 box. We also had Lizzie take half of our corner kicks, move up as a striker at times, and move back as a holding mid when necessary. Lizzie was highly effective in each one of those positions. Lizzie scored 8 goals on the season, scoring them in 4 different games. Our second game versus Southgate, we needed someone to step up and have a great game. We needed someone to prove to Southgate that we were the better team. We weren't sure how Lizzie would play that day because her grandfather just passed away earlier that morning. Lizzie is the one that stepped up that day. and possibly had the best game of her career, scoring a hat trick on the first 3 shots that she took. Thank you for having a great game that day and a great season. Number. I was afraid of my hat. Number 14, Senior Captain Aaron Raplogo. This is also Aaron's 4th year as a varsity player and 4th year as a starter. In Aaron's career, she has played every position. As a matter of fact, she played forward, center mid, outside mid, holding mid, center back, outside back, and she played keeper in the game versus Carlson, where we needed at least a tie to finish 3rd in the conference. She played every position this year. In Aaron's first 3 years, we had to use her as primarily a defender to help strengthen our back line. Even take her out of the midfield. In every year to date, Aaron was selected as our MVP because of her skills. When we needed a sub for Lily because of Aaron's athleticism, I knew that she was the one we could put in goal. Aaron did an amazing job in goal that day, helping the team achieve the much-needed 0-0 tie. Aaron also took half of our corner kicks and was the team's leading goal scorer. Aaron scored in 11 different games, which is a school record. She also set another school goal scoring record with 13 goals for the season. I could continue talking about Aaron's skills, but one of the things about Aaron that as coaches we admire the most is her attitude about playing any position needed to help the team have a successful season. Thank you for an amazing soccer career. Number 14, Senior Captain, Aaron Raplogo. All right. Team 5. Good job, girl. Some of them are going to have to come back up. Let's see these all academic. Girls, help me out. To be on the all-academic team, what does your grade point have to be? 3.3 or better? We've got a few. So when I call off their name, that's because they were the Younger League all-academic team. So just come on up and get your award at that point, please. Catherine, or Kate as we know her, Kate Simpson. I hate to say this as a coach, but education is more important than soccer. Alina Kozinski. Isabella Colstrand. Carolyn Anderson. Elena Jacobs. Olivia Harder. Eliana Sawicki. Finishing 3rd in the conference, we also had 4 all-league players this year. They get a certificate for being all-league. They also get a nice medal which says Downriver League. First, sophomore Mia Morford. Sophomore Olivia Harder. Junior Alina Kozinski. when we had the temperatures that we had this year, it's a shame that we couldn't have more girls on the team because many more deserve it, that's for sure. Okay, we also have 4 awards for the girls. It's our annual awards. We have an MVP award, we have a coaches award, we have a most improved award, and the Bear award. Okay, Becca Anderson, come on up, please. I told you about her growth as an outside back this year, which is a position that she really didn't play much before. But not only growth from previous years to this year, but also from the start of this season through the end of this season. She just kept showing more and more improvement. Did a great job back there, as I said before. Strike the ball with both feet now. Congratulations, Becca. Elena Jacobs, come on up, please. AJ, as we know her, I told you about being so tough on the field when she was injured and just wouldn't give up to help her team. And that's the type of, we have a lot of girls like that, but I think that AJ set the standard this year. And because of that effort and her talent and attitude, the Coaches Award this year goes to Elena Jacobs. Lillian Corby. Lily was, she's a specialty player. And I remember like 3 years ago when Mike Stan and I were talking about this basketball player. Usually basketball players convert to be good soccer players. They also have very good hands, and that's one of the things I mentioned when I talked about her earlier. She has great hands. But to be a specialty player, and we didn't have specialty coaching this year. I think we might have got her help from previous coaches, maybe twice at the most. But she did just an amazing job. And with that said, we didn't have a backup. We did throw Erin in one game, but that took away from our attacking game. But she just did an amazing job for us. And this year's most valuable player, Lillian Corby. Erin Raplogo. I mentioned earlier that Erin, her first 3 years on varsity, was selected as the most valuable player. She has phenomenal skills, she has a phenomenal work ethic, a phenomenal attitude, and she's one of Gideon's players told me last year to yell at her. I don't like to do that. You know me, I yell, but I don't like to do that too often. But this year's recipient of the Bear Award is Erin Raplogo. Oh, varsity players, we forgot to give you get one of these every year that you're on varsity, so come on up and get those. We also now have we'd like to give you your pictures, team pictures, if you want to come up and get those. Prior to that, are a couple girls doing senior speeches or no? Or two maybe? No? Nobody? Okay.
Say I love you, Mom or Dad.
All right. So anyways, come on up, get your pictures, everybody. And thank you everyone for being here. Thank you especially for winning this honor.
Congratulations. She's still around the back.
So, Coach Mayhew or Coach Dana cannot be here. But she wanted to give the girls a message, and she didn't record it this time, girls, but she did send me a text. So I'm just going to read it to you. It won't take a second. Ladies, congratulations on a great season. First time in the top and first time placing third. I couldn't be more proud of that or you. You worked hard all season and really worked as a team. You set a precedent for the years to come. To the girls that are leaving, thank you for your time and dedication to this program. For those that aren't graduating, let's keep the progress going and aim to do even a better job next year. Good job, girls.